Again, if you want to try and do domain and range on this on your own, you can pause the video for a second, try and scribble it out, and then watch and see if you got it right. So I'm going to take my trusty little paper clip one more time, if I can figure out what I did with it. There it is. And we're going to go left to right as we're starting with domain. So the furthest left is the lowest x value. And the first time that I actually hit the graph is right here. So this value looks like -8, and because it's a closed circle, it is included. So that's where my domain starts. So -8. And I'm going to keep going until I don't touch the graph anymore. Now this spot right here, you might be tempted to say that it stops here at what, -4? But it doesn't. Because here at -4, even though this is open and my paperclip isn't hitting the graph, it's hitting down here. So it doesn't matter where on the paperclip the graph hits, it's just, is the paperclip touching the graph somewhere? And it is. So this does not break up my domain. My domain is still -8, still hitting the graph, still hitting the graph, still hitting the graph, still hitting the graph, still. What about here? Here at -3. Is it still hitting the graph? No, it's not. Why not? Because both of these are open. So this is a little hole in the domain. It's not actually hitting. So this is going to go all the way to 3. And that's where it stops. And it's not included, so it's parenthesis. Where does it pick back up? Picks back up right on the other side of it. So it picks back up at 3, not included. And we'll talk about this here in a second. So it picks back up at 3, and I'm going to keep on going to the right, going. And this is where it stops. After this point, it doesn't hit the graph anymore. So here at about 7, included or not included, it's a closed circle, so it's included. So let's go back to these 3's right here. This might look a little bit funny to you, seeing 3 and 3. And what this is saying is, I can go from -8 all the way to 2.9999999999999, and it's fine. If I hit 3, undefined. I can't get a y value out for 3. If I plug in 3, it's going to give me an error. What about 3.000000001? Yes, it's defined at that. So anything bigger than 3 or less than 3, but not actually 3. So these are parentheses, not brackets, because 3 is not included in it. Range. Y values, so bottom to top. Starting at the bottom, I'm going to scroll up with my paperclip. Where's the first place that it hits? Right there. That's the first place. So we're going to assume that I can actually graph completely straight. And this looks like it's at about at -5. So we're going to say our range starts at -5. And obviously, if you're doing this on a graph, it'll be much more gridded off and precise than my hand-drawn graphs. So this starts at -5. Bracket, because it's a closed circle and it's included. And we're going to keep on going. Still touching the graph. Now touching the graph in 2 spots. Now in 3 spots. Back to 2 spots. Still touching, still touching. Even though this is an open circle, it's still touching at 2 other spots. Still touching the graph now on the right hand side until here. So this is the top part of my range. And again, we're going to pretend that I can graph straight, and that's going to be about 6. So it goes all the way to 6. And it is included. Closed circle means I use a bracket, and this is my domain and range for this one. So I would suggest practicing a few of these. They're a little bit tricky. If you need to get yourself a paperclip, go ask someone for a paperclip, flatten it out, use it to scroll across from left to right, bottom to top. Sorry, you saw shadows. Left to right, bottom to top, so that you can find your domain and range. Domain and range is very important for graphs of different situations and a lot of the different parent functions that we're going to be studying this year. And you're also going to eventually learn how to tell domain and range just from an equation, not necessarily a graph. So that's domain and range.